Welcome everybody. Welcome. This is part 3 of my embodiment series. Last week I spoke about the 7 signs that your nervous system is ready for an upgrade. And this week we're going to be talking about how to do that, how to retrain your nervous system for that inner safety and self-trust. Okay, so let's get into it. If you are tuning in live, say hello, your name, where you're from, and if you're watching the replay, comment replay. And I would love it if you sent a comment at the end and said what you're like, if there was any aha, any light bulb moment for you. All right, so let's get into it. Last week, I'll just recap what we spoke about last week. So some of the signs that your nervous system is looking for a reset. Those were the signs like unable to relax, constantly feeling like you need to be doing something, or feeling numb or disconnected from your body, like physically, like unable to feel joy, unable to feel pleasure. Always feel like you are overthinking all the decisions you have to make, going around in your head, getting stuck in constant loops of overthinking. Some other ones are overgiving, people pleasing, and being hypercritical of yourself or other people. All right, so now we want to talk about some of the ways you're going to retrain your nervous system, how to build that really kind, loving relationship with yourself so that you can feel safe. Because anywhere you go in your life, you're going to be with yourself, you're going to be with your body. Okay, so I've got 5 talking points I want to speak about here. So the first one is, so I'm going to call these my pillars of nervous system retraining and self-trust. So the first one is the embodiment piece, is the somatic piece. So this is all about somatic awareness, somatic meaning of the body. So reconnecting to your body, to your internal felt sense, reconnecting to what your body's telling you, where you're holding tension. It's not anything too like complicated or complex. It's literally just being able to realize what's happening inside of your body. If you are highly sensitive or neurodivergent or have been in prolonged states of stress, anxiety, or experienced trauma, there you might have disconnected from your body. You might not even have their internal felt sense of like hunger cues, like pleasure cues, so many things. So we want to really drop back into our bodies, coming out of our heads that are so busy and always going and retuning back into the body. Okay, the body keeps the score. Again, if you've been holding on to chronic stress or tension, it lives in your body. So we need to have that somatic piece, that awareness of the body and what's going on, and learn how to release that stress and move through it. Okay, so these can be really small, simple practices. I love doing different movement practices that, you know, sometimes they're longer. I don't do those long practices every night. Some of these practices take 2 minutes for you to do, 2 minutes to completely flip your nervous system out of the stress response and back into the rest response, and reconnect with what's going on in your body. That can take under 2 minutes. Okay, so there's different ways of doing this. You've got breath work techniques, movement techniques, body talk, self-compassion talk, all of those things. We'll talk a little bit more about all of those coming up soon. But as I said, any of the practices that you do doesn't need to be like a strict practice that you're sticking to. These are things that you can do while you're driving in the car, sitting in a traffic light, reconnecting to your breath, reconnecting to the tension, breathing through it, all of those kind of things. Okay, so, and it's very intuitive as well. You don't need to have, again, as I said, like a long practice. You don't need to be like a yogini or anything like that. It's literally just like, oh, I feel tension in my neck. Let me stretch it out. Like, your body actually knows what to do. Okay, and that's another quick point I want to make, is learning to trust your body's cues. If you've got, like, I'm going to just give a very mundane example, but if you've got tension in your neck, what would you do? Okay, that's like a really simple example. It doesn't have to be super, you know, complicated and complex. Okay, so we want to, the next part, so that's the somatic piece, the kind of embodiment piece in that sense. The next one is reestablishing self-safety and self-trust. Okay, safety isn't just physical. It's not just being safe from physical danger. It's also emotional. Making sure that you feel seen, you feel heard, okay? That you know how to manage your emotions and that you can feel safe in your own emotions, and then that you can feel them and you feel safe to feel them and move through them in a healthy way. I'm not saying that you're always going to be happy or something like that. That's not how the world works, right? But we need to feel safe to move through the emotion in the full spectrum, rather than getting stuck in one kind of part of it in the height of the emotion. So the emotion, again, is a felt sense. It's an internal felt sense. So the idea is that you can learn to move with those emotions, move through it, and have that understanding that you can handle those things. You can handle the emotions and you can handle what life throws at you. So one of the ways we do this is really important is to tame the inner critic, that inner voice in our head that's mean, the mean girl voice who's always criticizing you, always putting you down. You're this, you're that, you can never do this, you can never do that, you're ugly, you're this, blah, 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 blah. Okay? Whatever that voice is telling you, we need to retrain that voice. If you have that constant voice in your head of negative self-talk, negative beliefs, negative spiraling, and you're not able to move out of that, there's really not much else that you can do. You're never going to be able to get into a sense of safety because it's yourself attacking yourself. We need to learn how to stop attacking ourselves and become our own best friends, our own ally, someone that we can trust who's going to move us through what we need to do in our lives. Not someone who's always going to be weighing on us and pulling us back and telling us we can't do it, you can't do it, you're this, you're that. There's enough of that out there. There's enough haters in the world. There's enough people who want to tell you negative stuff or whatever. You don't need that inside of yourself, okay? So there are many ways to do this, and again, some of them are very short practices that you can do, and just the awareness is the first piece. So switching that inner critic, okay, into a loving, compassionate, sometimes if self-love and that loving talk feels a little bit far off, at least learning to have compassion for yourself. I know you have compassion for a lot of other people. I know that you're caring for other people and you wouldn't just go and attack people and do this and that. Maybe you do. If you're hypercritical of other people, then that is a similar thing as well. But it also means if that you are hypercritical of other people, there's also the hypercritical of yourself. As within, so without, right? So we need to retrain that critical thinking or that negative thinking, especially when it comes to ourselves. So yeah, that's having that self-compassion, self-kindness, all of those things. And that's learning to know that that's telling yourself, that's telling your inner brain, it's telling your nervous system that you've got your own back, that you are your friend. You are an ally. You're not someone that you are safe. You're a safe person to be with yourself. Imagine not feeling safe being with yourself. It's a pretty wild concept that sometimes a lot of us don't feel safe to just be with ourselves. And that's one of the reasons why. It's because yourself is always attacking you. Okay? So learning to have that kind, respectful, loving voice, that self-talk, all of those things that's going to tell yourself that you're a safe person, you can be trusted, and that you're going to help yourself move through this world in the way that you want to move through this world. Okay. Okay, and so I want to talk about something specific, maybe a bit more specific to hypersensitive or specifically ADHD women. Let's talk about consistency. This is like a big topic. It was a really big topic for me, and I've seen a lot of other ADHD women talk about this. If you have and you know, this goes for everybody, absolutely everybody, but I think it's especially relevant with ADHD women. If you have in the past broken your trust with yourself by saying, I'm going to do this thing, I'm going to go to the gym 3 days this week, I'm going to go to the gym 5 days this week, whatever it is, and you have consistently told yourself that you want to do something for yourself and you haven't been able to follow through, you broke the promise to yourself, and maybe that's been a bit of a pattern. Learning how to reestablish trust with yourself is like a bit of a journey. But what I want to say is, and this is really important, if you feel like you've broken your self-trust and your promises to yourself, if this is around consistency, like, oh, I said I was going to do a meditation practice for 10 minutes a day, every single day in the morning or at night or whatever at this time, and you were unable to do that, I want you to listen to this. And if there's only one thing that you take away from this, it's this part. And that's 2 points I want to make. First of all, I want to reframe consistency into, first of all, you're a woman, okay? You are ruled by the moon, not by the sun. A man is ruled by the sun, the 24-hour system. His testosterone peaks in the morning and starts waning in the evening. His masculine hormones are run on a 24-hour clock. Your hormones as a woman are not run on a 24-hour clock, meaning that you are not built to be consistent. You are not built to do the same thing in and out every single day. Now, let's put aside the fact that most of us need to work, and some of us, we have full-time jobs and this and that and the other. Let's just pop that aside for a second, but let's just understand that and appreciate that. You were not built for consistency in that sense. You were not built to do the same thing at the same time every single day. That's how a man's system is built. He's run by the sun. You are ruled by the moon, okay? And our society has told us that we need to be consistent. We need to consistently show up for ourselves. We need to do blah, 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 whatever. And yes, there is a part of that, and I'll talk about that in a second, but you're ruled by the moon and you're a woman. That's the first piece. The second piece is that you're ruled by the moon, the cycles. So I want you to think, rather than routine, I want you to think about rhythm. Moving in the rhythm, the ebbs and flows, okay? That's the first part. The second part is that you're highly sensitive. I like to say not that you're highly sensitive in a negative sense, but your senses are highly attuned. So they are highly sensitive, your literal senses. I can hear a watch ticking 3 bedrooms down, especially if it's nighttime and I'm trying to sleep, dead set. I think you know what I'm talking about. If there's a little tiny light on somewhere where I'm trying to sleep, even if I'm not facing the light, it will shine through and buzz into my eye. I can feel that light looking at me. I know you know what I'm talking about, sis, okay? Your senses are highly tuned, okay? So you're highly sensitive. You're designed to lead with your senses, with your internal felt sense. That's how you as a woman, and especially as a ADHD or highly sensitive woman, you're not designed to lead with brain, logic, all of the time. Of course, we need both, but you're designed to lead with intuition, emotion, and internal felt sense. That's where intuition comes from. It's a sense from your senses. Maybe it's a sixth sense, that's fine, whatever. There are many senses. So that's where you want to start to learn how to lead from as well. Yes, we have to always be thinking and, all of that stuff, but you need to learn how to switch that off and switch between leaning from logic, strategy, and leading from emotion, intuition, internal felt sense. Okay, so I just wanted to highlight that consistency piece, because I know it was a big deal and it really hurt my self-esteem. Oh my God, I literally just got emotional just then. It really did hurt my self-esteem that I couldn't stick to the practices that I wanted to stick with. I said, I want to do a meditation practice. I want to do all these things for myself. I've got all these ideas and so many passions and all these things I want to do. And I couldn't just stick to a 10-minute routine. You're not designed for that kind of consistency. Okay? So one thing here that's like going to be helpful for you is deciding which actions are really, really going to move the needle for you. Not that you're just doing any kind of thing and being consistent doing any kind of thing. You can be consistent with specific things, and it's finding those one or two little things that you can do that you can be more consistent in, that are going to really, really move the needle for you, so you can really put your chest behind it. And it needs to have a sense of excitement for you as a highly sensitive or neurodivergent woman. It needs to be highly meaningful to you. It needs to be connected to something greater than yourself. Okay? So I don't want to ramble on too much here, but if there's one thing you take away, just know you're a woman. You're ruled by the lunar cycle, the moon, the cycles, you know, winter, spring, summer, autumn. And so think about, rather than routines and like sticking to these dedicated routines, think about rhythm. That was really helpful for me. Okie dokie. So the next part is reconnecting to your sense of purpose and something greater. Why is this important for self-trust and nervous system training? This is especially relevant for my girlies who are feeling really restless because they know that they want to do something else, that maybe they've outgrown what they're doing, or they feel like they want to move on to the next thing, or they feel like they're not reaching their potential. This is for you. If you have a strong sense of purpose and sense of something greater than yourself, you can kind of rest in the idea of the road ahead of you. If you're just kind of rocking up, waking up kind of anyhow, going to work, doing all the mundane stuff with no kind of vision and sense of where your life is going and what you want to do for yourself, how can you rest? How can you feel safe when there's no path paved, there's no clear vision of where you're going? You're literally lost. How can you feel safe when you're lost? I want you to think about that. We all have responsibilities. We all have to go to work, this, that, and the other, of course. But there should be some, and this is specifically for the women who know that they're meant to be doing something else right now, that they need to make a shift, they need to level up, whatever, okay? This is not going to be for everybody. So yeah, having that sense of purpose and identity of who you are and what you need to be doing, what you need to be working on, and trusting that path ahead. What else do I want to say here? Yeah, again, it reminds yourself, your nervous system, that you're guided and that you're not lost. Okay? So that's the thing. And also, so that is reconnecting to something greater and a sense of purpose and sense of self and sense of identity. Like really who you are and what the heck you're freaking doing here. Sometimes the world is freaking chaotic and you just look around and go, what is going on? I don't know if anyone's has that on a regular basis. Like, what is happening here on this planet? It's wild. So I feel like it's really important to have that. The next one, rewiring your self-concept. What does that mean? Rewiring those beliefs of who you truly believe that you are. This is almost connecting to something greater. Having that sense of purpose and that sense of identity. Again, this is for very specific people. This is not for everyone. When you have that strong sense of purpose and strong sense of identity, and you can rewire your beliefs to align with that identity, you can rewire your beliefs and then your actions, right? And this is what I want to go back to with the consistency piece. If you've been trying to just change the action, and keep doing something without changing your identity and the beliefs you hold about yourself, who you are and what you're capable of, you're going to keep coming up against a wall because your identity hasn't shifted to the place where this is what we do. This is who we are. It's like it's like in your mind, it's like you're trying to be someone else. You're trying to do something else. Like, that's weird, you know? And it also feels unsafe because everything that you've done so far in your life has kept you safe. Really quick, I just want to say, and can we thank ourselves as well for all the things that we have done to get ourselves to this point, to keep us safe, even if it feels like we haven't done everything that we want to do for ourselves. Just know that your body, yourself, is always looking to keep you safe. So even when you haven't been able to do the thing that you want to do, it's your body, it's your nervous system, it's your subconscious keeping you safe. So sometimes it's important to recognize that you're not just trying to sabotage yourself because you hate yourself or anything like that. It's literally your body trying to keep you safe. And so when we can sit with that and appreciate that and be like, oh, thank you so much for keeping us safe, you know, but we want to do this now. All right. So you can do this. There's a number of ways to do this, but and there is an element of fake it till you make it. You're never going to feel ready. You're never going to feel fully healed, fully complete, fully ready to do the next thing, to make the next step. So there is an element of fake it till you make it. And there's also an element of being freaking delusional and fully brainwashing yourself. Okay, we can talk about that another time. But you can, I say brainwash, but you can literally brainwash yourself. And using your subconscious mind. You can do this with hypnosis, subliminal messaging, listening to quiet things in the background. I do this. I listen to sleep hypnosis meditations to rewire your identity. Okay, the next part is finding those, I kind of touched on it before, finding those small aligned actions. Finding those small aligned actions. Find something that you do already consistently, that you're doing for yourself consistently. It literally might be getting up 5 days a week, brushing your teeth, putting on clothes, and going the fuck to work. That's pretty big. That's doing I know I don't feel like getting up 5 days, it's actually 7 days if you got kids, you know, you have to be up at a certain time and you go to a certain place and You do things consistently. Okay, so making that a very conscious thing that you're doing. If you can't change anything right now, become aware of what you're already doing and thank yourself and acknowledge that. Acknowledge what you are already doing consistently. Acknowledge all the things that you do for yourself and really hype it up. Hype yourself up, sis. Hype yourself up like you're your best friend. You know how you hype your girls up? Hype yourself up. Man, you went to work 5 days of this week. You put on your makeup, you put on your clothes, you're looking fresh. You might be spiraling on the inside, but hey, you showed the fuck up. Okay, so if you're not at a point yet where you feel like you've reconnected to that sense of identity and purpose and retrained your beliefs to align with that, acknowledge yourself for what you're already doing. All right. Okay, so the last thing, what do I want to say else here? I think that's really it. Let me just go ahead and recap everything we spoke about. So we had a quick recap of some of the signs that your nervous system is ready for a reset. We spoke about 5 pillars. So those pillars were the embodiment, the somatic piece, reconnecting to the body, getting out of the head into the body, reconnecting with that internal felt sense, your senses, including pleasure, sense of touch, all that stuff. The somatic piece, the embodied body-based piece, re-establishing self-safety and self-trust. One of the big ones there was self-compassion, kindness, and rewiring the inner self-critic. And then we spoke a bit about consistency. Then we spoke about reconnecting to purpose and something greater and aligning that with your identity. And then rewiring your self-concept, your beliefs about yourself, of who you are and what you came to do and what you're capable of, to match that. So everything is in alignment. If you want to do something, you want to learn to play an instrument, but you don't believe you can do it, there's a misalignment. If you don't believe you have the time, the motivation, the energy, whatever, there's a misalignment. It's not going to align up. You're not going to be able to move forward. It's not connecting. So you need to get your beliefs in alignment with your identity. And then from there, you can have your actions become in alignment with your new identity. If you're missing that piece, that middle piece, and you're just trying to do the action without changing your identity, you're going to come up against a wall. So rewiring your self concept, and then small aligned actions towards that. And really hype those up, even if it's very small and even if it's not consistent every single day. Hype them up when you do something. If you order the salad instead of the big bowl of pasta, hype yourself up. If you get to the gym one day this week, hype yourself up. Like literally, like breathe oxygen into the things that you are doing for yourself, and like starve oxygen of when you didn't do this, you didn't do that, you're not good. Starve that out and focus on what you are doing. Breathe oxygen into it until it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Change your focus. Okay, you don't need to breathe oxygen into what you didn't do right today. Breathe oxygen into what you did do right today. Take those small aligned steps. If you can't change anything right now, breathe oxygen into what you're already doing for yourself, which I know is so much, so much. I know it's so much more than what you think you're doing. If you saw your girlfriend doing all the things that you do on a daily basis for yourself, for your family and everything, like you would hype her up. Okay, so become your own best friend like that. Okie dokie. I think that's pretty much it. Those are like the big talking points I want to speak about. If any of these things resonated with you, leave it in the comments. Tell me what resonated. If you had any aha moments, I'd love to hear about them. And if this did resonate with you, and if this is something that you feel like you want to start working on and working towards, I want to invite you. I'm officially opening up my coaching doors, as in I've opened up the spots now. I'm running a 6-week beta program, okay, at a really, really discounted price. 6 weeks for 5 to 6 women who are interested to do this. We go through all of these things together. And you have the system, the accountability, someone to check in on you on a weekly basis, the practices, everything is there for you, okay? If this is something you want to do for yourself, I warmly invite you. I'm opening up my doors. If you're interested to hear about more, you can send me a direct message, okay? And I think that's everything. Have a beautiful day. I hope these things were helpful for you. And again, please, in the comments, tell me what resonated with you. All right, lovers, have a good day. Mwah.